What the heck is a whisk? Hi everybody, welcome to Let's Learn English. Today we are in the kitchen and guess what? We are gonna bake some delicious chocolate chip cookies. But not today. Don't worry, those cookies were fake. We need to learn the vocabulary and the expressions to be able to bake the cookies. We're talking about flour, sugar, ovens, spatula, you name it, we're gonna learn them all today. By the end of this video, you'll be able to bake and sound like a native English speaker while you do it. So, should we get started? If this is your first time here, my name is Courtney. I love teaching English and I love doing it the fun way. I have my degree from a university in linguistics and TESOL, and I've been teaching for years. So I'm very happy to be here with you. In this lesson, we're gonna focus on 3 topics: vocabulary, phrasal verbs, and the going to future tense, which is super useful. You will use it all the time. I use it all the time. Everybody uses it all the time. It's gonna be great. But we're gonna start with vocabulary. So I'm gonna say each word 3 times, just so you can practice the pronunciation. I am very sorry if you already know the word because you're gonna hear me say it so many times, but you can practice too, it'll be great. Our first word is recipe. A recipe is instructions that tells you how to make a meal or a dish or cookies. Recipe. 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 Our next word is ingredients. Ingredients are the individual food items in a dish that you need to make it. For example, if we were making chocolate chip cookies, you might see on the ingredients list flour, sugar, butter. Flour is the white powder, like this, that you use for baking cookies or cakes. Sugar is also white, but it's more like little granules, like this. And that's the stuff you put in cookies and cakes that makes it taste really sweet. Flour, flour, flour. Sugar, sugar, sugar. Okay, the oven, it's the machine in the kitchen that gets really hot, and we use it to bake cookies, cakes, and other things. Oven, oven, oven. Next we've got measuring cups. Measuring cups. Measuring cups are used to make sure that we get the right amount of what we need in a recipe, like sugar or flour. Measuring cups. Measuring cups. Measuring cups. Next, we're gonna look at our mixing bowl. A mixing bowl is where we put all the flour, sugar, all of the ingredients, and we mix it together. Mixing bowl, mixing bowl, mixing bowl. I know you're tired of hearing me say everything 3 times, but I'm also tired of saying it, so. Okay, with the mixing bowl, we've got a spatula, okay? And a spatula is used to mix everything in the recipe. It's also really good for lifting cookies off the pan when you are done. I've got 3 really good things here for you. The first one is tin foil. Tin foil is a shiny metallic paper, and I use it to bake my cookies on. Okay, tin foil, tin foil, tin foil. Next, we've got a cooling rack, okay? Is what we use to put our cookies on when they're all done so that they can become cooler, not so hot. Okay, cooling rack, cooling rack, cooling rack. Great. And last but not least, we've got our cookie sheet. The cooking sheet is what we use to bake the cookies on. It's a flat tray that you put in the oven. Cookie sheet, cookie sheet, cookie sheet. Those were our nouns, and now we've got just 2 verbs. So I will use those verbs in different sentences so you have the different tenses as well. Our first one is preheat, and preheat means to turn on the oven before you start baking so it gets hot and can cook the things you need it to cook. So I preheated the oven yesterday. I am preheating the oven right now, and I will preheat the oven tomorrow. Preheat. Okay, our next word is mix. Mix is what you do when you combine all of the ingredients together in your bowl. So I mixed the ingredients yesterday, I am mixing the ingredients right now, and I will mix the ingredients tomorrow. Okay, do you think you know those words? Because if you don't already know, on my channel, I love to play games. It is my favorite way to teach languages. It's my favorite way to learn languages. So we're gonna play a game. For this game, I'm going to put 2 pictures up on the screen, and I will ask you which vocabulary word it is. I'm gonna do this 10 times. I want you to keep track of how many times you got it right, and then let me know in the comments how many you got right. Ready? Which picture is a mixing bowl? Yep, this one. Okay. Which word is measuring cups? Which word is to mix? Yep, that one. Okay, which word is to preheat? Which word is flour? Right. Which word is sugar? Okay. Which word is spatula? Which one is tinfoil? Okay. Which one is cookie sheet? Which one is cooling rack? Okay. So, how did you do? 10 out of 10? I can't wait to see how you did in the comments, but for now, we're gonna move on. If you feel like you need a little bit more practice with those vocabulary words, just rewind the video and play the game again. I bet it will help you. Otherwise, we're gonna go on to phrasal verbs. I want to give you some really common examples of phrasal verbs that you have probably heard before. Pick up, open up, read over, look over. Do you know any of those? A phrasal verb is a combination of 2 words. It's usually a verb plus a preposition, a very small word like up or down or off. But by adding the 2 words together, you change the meaning. For example, to turn means to move like this. But to turn on would mean to start up a machine, or I could turn on the oven or turn on my KitchenAid. So turn plus on creates the phrasal verb turn on. Phrasal verbs are super common in English, so the more that you hear them and the more that you practice them, the better you will be at understanding the conversations that are happening around you. So, you know turn on means to start up a machine. What about turn off, our second phrasal verb? Turn on, start up. Turn off means to stop a machine. It's just the opposite. Turn on, turn off. Okay, next is to whip up. I'm going to show you what it means. To whip up means to make something really fast. For example, I could say, oh, my friends are coming over. Let me just whip up some cookies. It would mean just to make some cookies really fast. That's whip up. The next phrasal verb is warm up. Warm up means to heat very gently or slowly, like butter, for example. When we make chocolate chip cookies, we're going to heat the butter just a little bit so that it's not so cold while we're baking. That's warm up. Our next one is wipe down. I'm going to use this. Wipe down means to clean off a counter or surface. Usually you use a rag and you wipe down all the counters. Our next phrasal verb is clean up. And clean up means to clean a whole room or a whole section. So if I'm going to clean up the house, I'm going to clean the whole house. If I'm going to clean up the kitchen, I'm going to clean the whole kitchen. Not just one little section, but I'm going to clean up a lot. Okay, let's try saying these phrasal verbs together. So just repeat after me. Turn on the oven to 350 degrees. Okay, let's whip up some cookies. Wipe down the counter before we start baking cookies. Clean up the kitchen after we're done. Warm up the butter. It's cold. Awesome. The key to this one is really to say them over and over and over again, because honestly, the individual words put together don't really make sense. It's only once you keep saying the phrasal verbs that they actually have meaning. So you just have to keep saying them, keep hearing them, and you'll get them. I'm sure you will. I think, should we play a game now to check our knowledge? Yeah, we should. It's just a quick one. You're just gonna complete the phrasal verb, okay? Turn. That was a trick. It could be off or on. I was thinking on. Clean. Up. Perfect. Wipe. Down. Great. Warm. Up. Great. Whip. That's another up. There's lots of ones that have up with them. You're doing great. We are now on to the last part of our lesson, which is the grammar part. I know it's everybody's favorite. Well, now that you know the vocabulary and you know the phrasal verbs, we can use those as we learn the grammar part of this lesson. And to be honest, this grammar with the going to future tense is really simple. It's very straightforward. It's almost always the same. There are not very many irregularities to it like you can see with a lot of other tenses. So I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So if you want to talk about something you are planning on doing in the future, that's when you used going to. It shows that something's going to happen soon. But it's not just for baking. You actually can use this for anything in life. For example, we're going to go see a movie. I'm going to bed later tonight. I'm going to eat some popcorn at the movies. You can use it for anything. Here's the structure. Subject plus am, is, or are, just the to be verb, plus going to, plus a verb. Every time. It's going to be the same thing every time. Here are a few examples in the kitchen. I am going to preheat the oven. In English, we usually combine I and am to be I'm. We can talk about that in another video. But I would say, I'm going to preheat the oven now. Or, we are going to add the chocolate chips. You might say, we're going to add the chocolate chips. The cookies are going to taste amazing. Notice how the verb after going to always stays in its base form. You never add ing, you never add ed for past tense. Pretty simple, right? I know. But maybe you're thinking to yourself, isn't there a faster, easier way to do this? And there is. As Americans, we sometimes like to change the way that we say words. In this case, instead of saying going to, we always say gonna. We almost never say going to. We say, I'm gonna mix these cookies. I'm gonna mix these cookies. I'm gonna mix these cookies. We're gonna mix these cookies. They're gonna mix these cookies. You've probably heard this one before. You have learned so many words and so many phrases to help you bake and speak like a pro. We're gonna wrap this up, but I think that we need to end with a game to test all of your knowledge on everything that we've learned, right? Let's see how many words you remember from today's lesson. I'm going to describe 10 words, and you're gonna see if you can guess which word I'm talking about. So this first word is a fine, powdery, white substance that is used in cookies and cakes. Yep, it's flour. This is something that you do to turn on the oven before you start cooking so it gets warm. Preheat, very nice. Okay, This next word is something that you use to frost cookies or to mix things or to use to pick up cookies. Was that too easy? It's a spatula. Okay, these are things that you use to measure out ingredients to make sure that you have the right amount. Measuring cups. I know these are too easy for you. Okay, this is something that you put all of your ingredients in and you combine them together. Mixing bowl, perfect. Okay, this is a really shiny metal piece of paper that you use to bake cookies on. Tin foil, great. Okay, what about the thing that you put your cookies on when they are done baking so that they can cool off a little bit? That one is a cookie sheet. Great job, very, very nice. So you are well on your way to becoming a professional baker and professional English speaker. In the next video, we're actually going to bake the cookies and we're going to practice all the phrases and all the vocabulary that we learned and we're actually going to bake them. So stay tuned for my next video. In the meantime, please let me know in the comments how you did on the quizzes and the games. I want to know how you're doing. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, do everything that you can to support me. Thank you. I'm so happy to have been here with you. I love learning with you. I love teaching you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.